So recently, my wife Holly and I had a really gross experience with a salesperson. And I want to talk about sales. And I want to talk about it really directly. Hi, this is Mark Silver with Heart of Business. And um, God, what a beautiful morning this is. I can't believe I'm out here. So sales is one of those things that is absolutely necessary in a business. It's absolutely necessary. Because there's a point where someone who isn't a client or a customer becomes a client or a customer. They decide to purchase something from you, a service or a product or something. And very often when it's a significant purchase, it involves a conversation of some sort. Sometimes it's a conversation that takes place on a sales page between the reader and the sales page. For a significant service, very often it takes place between you as the business owner or the practitioner or the provider and the potential client. And I know that sometimes we like to make the language seem nicer. You know, people call it enrollment, people call it exploration or discovery or whatever. And I don't know, maybe you've gotten to know me over time, maybe you're new here, but I'd like to lean in directly to what things actually are. And I want us to be comfortable with the word sales and selling, because I don't want to give that up to people who do it badly and have to abandon it. Oh my God, we had such a terrible sales experience. And we did end up buying a very significant purchase, and found out later that the person who had been selling us had lied. We very nearly returned it. The only reason that we kept it was because it was actually exactly what we wanted. It was a car. I'm trying to avoid details. But and the thing is that it was all unnecessary. Like, we purchased it in spite of how the salesperson was. And the lying and the schmoozing were completely unnecessary and left us with a really distasteful feeling, really gross. And we won't be recommending them. And if anybody asks us, we would dissuade people who asked us from going there. And if there had been any little thing that wasn't quite right, we would have happily returned it and kept looking. But it doesn't have to be like that. Selling is sacred. It's a sacred moment. It's a really sacred moment when you think about it. Someone is coming to you for help, and they're vulnerable, and they're stuck with something, and they need something, and they're coming to you really vulnerable. And you, on the other hand, are also vulnerable. You need to provide for yourself. You need to pay the rent, the mortgage, groceries, keep the lights on, keep your loved ones fed and yourself. It's a sacred meeting of vulnerabilities. And in this, somehow discovering if it's right, if it's the right thing for both of you. Setting aside your vulnerabilities, but holding them in your heart and deciding, is this where I can be met? Is this where I can be cared for? Is this going to work? I guess what I'm wanting to say this morning, this beautiful mist in the last week of Ramadan, when I'm feeling very worked and reduced and enlarged by the process of fasting, is that I want you to be nourished by that sacredness, to not be afraid of sales and selling, not be afraid to be focused, not to be afraid to be in your strength and your vulnerability at the same time, to know that there can be beauty and love in everything. If you can remember that going in, I'm hoping that it's something that you can really be nourished by. Yeah. I wish you so much goodness. I want your business to succeed. I want all of us with hearts who are trying to make this world a better place to see our businesses woven together into a much better way of being in this world than the world of business has shown us so far. And I know we can do that because there's sacredness in everything. Blessings.